Hey, it's Mark Strigl. We have a legendary guy joining us. I am so thrilled to speak with Mark Storace, known for his work with Krokus, and we're going to talk about all that. But first, how are you, Mark? You're in Switzerland, is that correct?
I'm fine, Mark. Yeah, I'm in Switzerland here in the northwest, on the border with France and Germany up here.
Okay. I was in St.
All
Moritz
turned back
once.
there.
St. Moritz, Switzerland. I visited once, long time
Oh,
ago.
nice place. Okay, pretty
Yeah.
classy place.
Yeah, that's more down by Austria, right? Is
I guess. Well,
okay.
everywhere's close, here.
Right.
It's nice. I was born and grew up on a small island,
Okay.
so I feel happy in a place that's not too big, It's not too huge, like
Gotcha.
USA, Canada, and so on. They're slightly too big for me to live
I
in, but
I hear you.
the tour, they're the best.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk to you about touring the States,
Yeah.
back in the day, and we'll get into that. But first, I'm so excited by what's happening with you now. John Freeman sent me over a link to the new album, Crossfire, and I'll be honest, I didn't know what to expect. I clicked on some of these songs. They are great. I was so thrilled to hear these songs with these big hooks, a big rock production, the way that I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
rock and roll to sound. Let's talk about this new album, Crossfire. I'm going to actually be premiering a song from it on October 26th and 27th on
Great.
SiriusXM's Hair Nation, channel 39. But let's dive into this. Who worked on this album with you?
Well, I was real lucky that Tommy Henriksen, guitar player with Alice Cooper since years, and lately worked with Hollywood Vampires and still is, and right now working on his Crossbones Scully, his own solo thing. And I met Tommy like a few years back working with China. He was producing their album, and I sat in and did some backing vocals to help him out. And we've been friends since then. And after seeing this concert where he was there playing with Alice Cooper in Zurich, he came up to me, and said, "Hey, Mark, I want to produce your next solo album." And I said, "Hell yeah." Okay. And that was it. And I got really, really felt really proud and honored that he took time. He made time because he's a real busy guy.
It
Yeah.
it sounds big, and you mentioned Tommy and his history. He's done work with Mutt Lange, legendary
Yeah.
producer, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's
And
a Mutt Lange sound to this new Crossfire album at
yeah.
times. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah. And Olle Romo is actually Mutt Lange's studio engineer, and he mixed the whole thing after Tommy was ready recording all the bits and pieces. So um, it's really maybe that's why the influence of Mark Lang really rubbed off on Tommy, the way he produced this, and he did so many backing vocals himself, Tommy. Just because it was in his head and he just let it out. Took him hours, and somehow we finished the album, and delivered more or less on time to Frontiers, and the first single's been out, Rock This City, which has a more kind of slightly Def Leppard feel to it, that Mutt Lange,
Yeah.
big vocals, big song. And we just also released the second one, which is We All Need the Money, which is a little bit of tongue in cheek, a little bit of humor in there. But quite realistic at the same time. And that sways more towards that ACDC sound. We're back playing blues influenced hard rock with great riffs. And some people, some I've done interviews with, have also said, well, this sounds a little bit like Krokus again, compared to the first album, Live and Let Live. And there's a little truth in there, because when you start doing, rock and roll the hard way, hard rock the old school way with the blues influence in there, it's in my DNA.
Absolutely.
And it just comes naturally, it's just so yeah.
It's a great release. I'm so excited to world premiere the song Screaming Demon from Crossfire on Hair Nation on October 26th. That's SiriusXM's channel 39. Mark, will you be playing shows to support the album?
Oh yeah, of course. Well, I mean, we've got a few shows coming up till December, and we'll obviously not call it the Crossfire tour or anything like that. It's just a continuation of the Live and Let Live promo tour, if you like. And but we'll add a couple of new songs in there from Crossfire. We actually did already for the last gig we did in Spreitenbach. Was a big festival, and we had a great time there. And actually, you see a little bit of the live shots on We All Need the Money, the last video we released. Yeah, so we'll continue with those and start, jamming, practicing, rehearsing the next batch to introduce on the tour next year.
Okay.
Whenever that starts, we don't know yet.
Any chance in US or Canada dates?
Oh, we'd love to, of course.
Yeah.
That's always open, and it's like, but it's always a matter of, delivery on demand kind of thing.
Yeah.
We can't just plan a tour and come over.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I want to talk about 40 years ago. 40 years ago this month, October 1984, I was hanging out with you at the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois, when you opened up for Sammy Hagar. And when I say I was hanging out with you, I was one of thousands in the audience. What do you remember about touring with Sammy back in 84?
Always a nice guy. A gentleman came around and popped his head in almost every night and see if we were okay. You okay, guys? Need anything?
Right.
Have a good one. This kind of attitude, which is great, rather than being sabotaged or whatever.
Yeah.
Turning down your sound, turning down your lights and stuff like that. No, it was always great with Sammy Hagar. Really, he boosted us, kind of, boosted our morale. And because we were like on the first tours then, you're saying early 80s, yeah?
This was 84. I saw you 40 years ago this month. Yeah. So it was the Blitz tour.
Yeah. So that was yet another tour with Sammy. Yeah. Okay. But even in the very, very beginning, the way he handled us, we were fresh from Europe, touring the USA. What was it? Can't Drive 55 and stuff, songs like that. Motor Scooter and stuff, songs like that.
Bad Motor Scooter, yeah.
Yeah, a bad motor scooter. So it was always good for us,
Yeah.
It was always great. I'm glad you caught that one.
Yeah, that was a fun memory for me. It was my third concert ever. It was the first concert my parents let me go to without them coming with me. So big night for me at 14 years old. The album, I want to talk to you about the album that you were out supporting back in '84, which was called The Blitz. A lot of times I feel like people, they tend to focus more on Headhunter, which was obviously a great album. But
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me personally, I loved the Blitz album. You worked with Bruce Fairbairn on that album before he
yeah.
worked with
God
Bon
rest his
Jovi
soul.
or
Yeah,
Aerosmith. What was that experience like?
it was special. It was like after Headhunter, uh, we were kind of pushed by the record company, management, Booker, to kind of become slightly more commercial and lose that rough edge and get the grit of Storace's voice and so on. Um, you know, and so we were going into a new dimension, a new area, and started experimenting on new approach to songwriting. And I remember, doing writing songs like Now, Out of Control, you know, uh, Midnight Maniac. It
Yeah.
was
Our Love, Rock the Nations. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was like it was new ground actually, um, but more or less, it was coming out of the same people, Fernando and myself. And so there's obviously, I mean, if you change the production, you could say it's very much like Krokus. We didn't go too far away, but yeah, it was a good feeling. We produced the whole thing in Vancouver, Little Mountain, I think it was
Right.
called.
Yep. It's a
Uh,
famous town for a
Bruce
lot of big
Fairbairn,
albums.
yeah, yeah. And also Bob Rock, who ended up working with Metallica,
Yeah.
uh, producing them since years.
So was Bob Rock engineering the Blitz? Is that what he was doing, or he was?
Yeah, he was engineering for Bruce Fairbairn, and Mike Fraser was kind of the second engineer, T-boy, kind of nice young guy in the studio, and he went on to produce ACDC live, I guess,
Okay.
somewhere, uh, doing bigger stuff. I mean, people move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank God. Yeah.
Yeah. So to go back one album before the Blitz, of course, Headhunter, 1983. You
Mm.
were working with a guy by the name of Tom Allom, who
Allom.
is probably most famous for engineering the early Black Sabbath albums and working with Judas Priest as a producer. How was
Yeah,
that experience?
really good.
Yeah.
Tom was really uh, very nice, English gentleman, played piano, and first time we met was at our manager's on our manager's farm in Mountain Home, Arkansas. And second day he fell off a horse and broke his shoulder,
Oh, wow.
which was not a good start
Right.
for Tom, poor guy. But he was full of painkillers and carried on doing his thing
Right.
and listened to our ideas. And we already started changing some stuff and working on lyrical ideas and stuff. And so when we met the next time was in Orlando, Florida, and we just dived into the production, and Tom was there, his arm in a sling, and helping us do the right thing, and we really did, because it was the most it was the highest we ever got up the Billboard charts, and we were like, ah,
Yeah.
Coming from Europe, from Switzerland, which is even like not a band known for its own rock and roll, but although there's rock and roll bands passing through,
Yeah.
every band that records that tours Europe passes through Switzerland because there's always great audiences waiting, for rock bands. And so that was a really good experience with Tom. And he'd say to me, "Hey, just go in there and do it." And he just let me do my thing, really. And I was really always well rehearsed, though. I really focused on every song. And in the end, he said, we're going to take these 5. We're going to take the demo or first takes, that you did. I felt really proud about that, because he said it was still raw and I wasn't thinking too much and it was still very natural. And
So your
yeah,
vocal takes on Headhunter were actually done. You thought they were going to be just demos, and they ended up being the final takes.
well, we recorded Headhunter in a very old school way, which was, though in those days, the drummer is in the big room where you can almost fit an orchestra in the middle. Everyone else is in different cubicles separated by glass, and the amps are somewhere else, so there's no leaking into microphones and stuff like that to keep it clean. And I had my own booth and did my own thing, and I had my music stand and lyrics and microphone, just bang bash went. I took it seriously, and I wanted the drummer to have a good feel, from my vocals, and so did everyone else. And I'm sure Tom also kept lots of takes from doing those demos, because the band was playing live, like in concert, with new songs in this studio. It's something that is rare nowadays,
Yeah.
with all the modern stuff, and the old school studios cost so much when you
Yeah.
compare to the new possibilities.
And Rob Halford of Judas Priest came by the studio at some point and did some backing vocals.
Tom flew him in,
Oh, he flew him in. Wow.
knowing him so well, and yeah, he put down, "Are you ready? Ready to burn?" That was great. It was really great. I'm glad he did that. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, one story that is told about you over and over again is that you once had the opportunity to. Some people say you had the opportunity to join ACDC. Other people say you had the opportunity to audition for them. What is the truth behind that whole ACDC thing?
It's only the second one. I had the opportunity to audition and I turned it down because I was feeling like real happy with the way things were going for Krokus. I was loyal to my new buddies and happy with the music direction, the way things were going. The guy who asked me if I wanted to go audition was the CEO of the company that just delivered our new light show in
Okay.
Fairbairn. And I was really on cloud 9 with Krokus, and I said, no, I'm not going to audition for anybody. I'm happy here. Plus, I had spent, of course, a long time before Krokus with another band, another Swiss band called T, hard rock, progressive
Right.
kind of style. And so I was used to working with Swiss musicians. I was, I loved the beer. I loved, I loved the food and the country, everything. So it was like I wasn't looking for anything new musically or anything else, So that was it, And people say, "Oh, don't you regret it?" No, why should I? We had a good run with Krokus. We went platinum in the USA, gold everywhere, and still doing well up to our last two albums. Went gold and platinum here in Switzerland, and you know, I've raised a family. I've got a loving wife. A paid roof over my head.
Right.
We go on holiday. What else do you need
Yeah.
in life? So I'm happy now doing my Storace thing. My solo band is really fun, and it also patches up the big hole left by Krokus, who doesn't tour anymore. We just did 5 big festivals, really nice. After about 10 rehearsals, we get together, we enjoy every rehearsal, we get on like we never did before, and we enjoy what we're doing. So I've got Krokus on one hand and my own thing happening, and working with good people. Actually, 2 ex-Krokus members, the drummer and the rhythm guitar player, were in Krokus. The drummer, Patrick Abbey, he does much more than just playing drums. Obviously,
he's a songwriter too, right?
Patrick, well, part, yeah, but the bulk came from Tommy and myself for Crossfire.
Right.
Yeah, and also Dominic Fabe. He's a great rhythm guitarist. Really good persona on stage, and then we go to Emmy Meyer. She's a great bass player, very energetic, full of beans, and I got to know her working on this production called Rock Circus, which was like this big circus tent
Okay.
on tour in Switzerland called Das Zelt. Everyone knows it, and then we come to Serge Kristen. He's like a super shredder.
Yeah.
Which is great. Just what we needed in the band. And he was first in my first ever version of my solo thing, which was way back. It was called Mark Strigl, and one of the highlights is we opened for Johnny Holiday, which you might not know there. He's
I know the name.
He was it's Halliday, not Holiday, but Johnny, the big rock and roll star from France, also sang in French.
Yeah.
And he played in the French part of Switzerland. We opened for him, special guests. There's over 15,000 kids out there. And we covered Screaming in the Night by Krokus. And right at the beginning, the start chords, it started to rain.
Oh, wow.
So I'll never forget that day. We had a great gig. And so he's back in the band. And we're about to record the next video on Sunday.
Oh,
yeah.
Awesome. And what song will that be for?
That's gonna be Screaming D-Man.
Okay, great. That's the one I'm gonna world premiere on my SiriusXM show on Hair Nation on October 26th.
It's a crazy song. It's so nice. It's gonna be a great live opener. That's the way I see it, and because it's really bombastic, the way it opens.
Yeah.
It's like with Krokus, we've been opening since since zillion years with Long Stick Goes Boom.
Yep. Great tune.
And that's also bombastic, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Screaming Demon is also that kind of opener. And obviously now we've been playing for the last couple of years songs from Live and Let Live, which was my first solo thing with Storace, and the opener has been the title song, Live and Let Live, you know.
Right.
And yeah, that's also, it's different. It's not somehow slightly more metallic in the sound and less grit in the voice, and you know, so there's going to be a nice mixture of songs for 2025 from Live and Let Live, first album, and Crossfire, the one that's coming on 22nd.
Yeah, November 22nd, Crossfire by Storace will be released, and you're just sounding great on this album. I'm so excited for people to hear the whole thing in its entirety. Your voice, how does it still remain so strong after all these years? Do you practice singing and doing vocal exercises? What's the magic?
Not really. I hate that. It's just
okay.
It's natural. I try to live a natural life, you know, not really, I'm not vegan, I'm not vegetarian, but I try and keep a balanced diet and keep, you know, my belly from growing. I watch out how much beer I drink and stuff like that. But, you know, I love red wine. I drink grappa, which is something you don't really know there.
Right.
And, you know, white wine on stage. It's like one glass will do. That's what opera singers drink as well. I know. You know, so it's good for the vocal cords and peps you up instead of coffee, because that dries up your whole mouth. What else do I do? Yeah, I like walking around the woods. My wife and I try and do it as often as possible. And so that's about a 2-hour walk. We say hi to the cows and the pigs, and there's a farmhouse close to the woods and stuff like that. Yeah, we just came back from a holiday in the southwest England where we just walked and walked and walked.
Oh, nice.
Really nice place to walk. Yeah, it's great.
Very good. Well, we would love to get you back over here to the States. It's been a while since I've seen you live, so maybe one day, sooner than later, that'll happen. Wishful thinking.
I hope so. I mean, the band is really, you just have to say bang,
okay,
and we're over. But you know, let's see how the cookie crumbles.
Right on. Mark, thank you for so many.
Thank you.
Thank you for so many great decades filled with awesome music, from Krokus to Storace. We are grateful to have you bringing us new music in the form of the Crossfire album, out November 22nd via Frontiers.
Thank you very much, Mark. Been a pleasure. And let's keep those fingers crossed. Crossfire fingers.
Okay. All right, my friend. Great talking with you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.